A couple things before I start this. I'm not condoning or encouraging anything done or said in this video. This is an educational medical video about a medication, and these drugs were taken in their prescribed proper dosages. Valium is prescribed for MRIs, so that's what I'm going to talk about today. Educate yourself if you feel like you need Valium, because Valium is a benzo, and they really do help some people with anxiety, but there's a lot of negative side effects. It's basically like Xanax if you didn't know, but for me it didn't make me feel like a zombie or make me feel like committing a crime. It made me feel very calm and coherent. And I felt a high that was similar to weed. I felt really relaxed and calm, but I didn't feel stoned. Instead, I felt this body high feeling, and I'm sure if I had taken enough that I'd have that incoherent feeling like Xanax gives you. But as I said before, these were taken in their prescribed dosages. This video is going to be talking about two separate experiences. I had gotten an MRI because I had a wrist injury, and I'm going to be making a whole series on that, and this is going to be one of the parts of the series. It's going to be a little out of order, so I guess this is going to be part 2. But basically, I needed to get an MRI, and I ended up having 2. And the first one got messed up because they injected the dye in the wrong area. And that happened July 25th, 2023. I don't really remember much, but I had 4 milligrams, and I remember the doctors injected the dye into my wrist so they can see the tendons and stuff better, and then they took me to the MRI room, and I was just faded. I remember I definitely had some RSO before the procedure, because I felt this level of relaxation that I had never felt before, and usually smoking weed, like a joint, doesn't get me to the level of like body relaxation that RSO does. So when this was mixed with the Valium, it made me feel 10 times more relaxed, and I really needed to be relaxed because I had to lay on my stomach, and I had to sit for 45 minutes with nothing but my thoughts in this sarcophagus-sized machine. They didn't even give me music to listen to. They said they were going to turn the radio on, but they never did. So I just laid there with nothing to do and unable to move, and I felt like it was never going to be over. But the 45 minutes is over, and for the rest of the day, I had just smoked, and it was very euphoric, especially when combined with the weed. And for my first experience, that's honestly all I can recall. The second MRI I had was on August 4th, 2023. I wake up around 6:30, I get dressed in something comfortable, I smoke half a joint, and at this point it's 7:30, I make myself a piece of toast, I put some butter on, and I put about 2 large rice-sized pieces of RSO on. And usually just a tiny piece of RSO works for me, but today I was trying to get big high because I was really nervous about the MRI machine, and I basically wanted to be as relaxed as possible when I went in. And around 8:45 a.m. I take 2 milligrams of Valium. I get driven to the hospital, I check in, I wait a little bit, and I take another 2 milligrams right before they call me in. And about 9:20 they call my name. And it doesn't take long for the Valium to kick in, only about 20 minutes. So at this point, I'm feeling the RSO, I'm feeling the Valium, and the Valium didn't even give me a strong, intense high. Like, it was euphoric, but it wasn't intense. Like, it blended with the weed, and it made me feel really relaxed mentally and physically. Like, I was just so calm. Usually doctors give me a lot of anxiety, especially when they have to inject me. But I was chillin'. I was able to really get myself to relax, and it wasn't just the fact that I was stoned from the medications. Mentally, I was able to think positive things. Like, when they were injecting me, I was really doped, but either way, they were gonna inject me and it was gonna hurt. So I just relaxed, and it didn't even hurt. It felt like a little pinch, but I was so relaxed I didn't even care. I was so ready to get it over with. And next was the MRI. And the first time I had the MRI, I was in a very uncomfortable position. They had me laying on my stomach with my right arm extended out in this little like foam pillow thing. And I wasn't allowed to move at all for 45 minutes or I would mess up the MRI pictures. I had nothing to do but sit with my thoughts and stare at the inside of the machine, and that's why they prescribe Valium, because being in a position like that for so long would give you anxiety, and on top of that, it makes you feel like you're in an escape pod flying through space. I kind of made that sound cool, but it's honestly kind of terrifying. Like, with the Valium and just being in the machine, it makes you feel like you're in an escape pod that has lost control and is just shooting through space. Being in the MRI machine is quite the surreal experience. Like, there's just these intense vibrating machine sounds the entire time, and you don't have anything to do or watch, and you can't move, and your brain starts doing weird things that I guess could be compared to the effects from a float tank. I had some weird, deep, surreal thoughts and feelings both times I had the MRI. And the second time they had brought me to a newer MRI machine, and it was a lot more comfortable. I just had to lay on my back with my hand at my side with the little foam thing on, and I still wasn't allowed to move, but it was so much more comfortable. And I was so high, I really felt like I was in a spaceship. I felt like I was elevating and levitating. I wasn't having an out-of-body experience, but I really felt like I was flying in space. Something about sitting in that enclosed machine just created this weird, surreal feeling. Like, it wasn't bad, I was just faded. I was chilling for the most part, but I had a little bit of anxiety because I didn't think that I would be in a more comfortable MRI machine. And I was just so high, I didn't need the Valium. Like, I would probably need a little something. Like, I expected it to be so much worse. I didn't expect to be put in the nice fancy MRI machines. I thought I was going to be horribly uncomfortable. So I was trying to get big faded earlier in the morning, and big faded I was. I felt like I was on another plane of existence. But luckily the 45 minutes was over. I get out of the MRI machine. And I was definitely still high from the RSO and the Valium. But when I got out of the MRI machine, a lot of the weird thoughts and feelings I was having were gone. I was definitely still doped, but I was feeling normal. And next I had to go to the dispensary. So my mom drives me over to the dispensary. And this is why I used the word coherent earlier. Like, Valium is definitely a benzo. In my experience, it doesn't affect the memory and inhibitions as much as Xanax. Like, there's definitely a little cloudy feeling to Valium. But I wouldn't trust myself to walk into the dispensary on Xanax. On Valium, I just felt like myself. I just felt so normal. And nothing really eventful happened the rest of the day. I had gone to the dispensary, I had gotten some cherry malt, and around 1:30 I had gone to Chick-fil-A. And I remember sitting and waiting in the drive-thru line, and my mom was getting angry, but I remember just sitting in the line, and I was listening to music, and I was just so relaxed. I was staring at all the other cars, and I was really chilling. We get our Chick-fil-A, and I get home, I play some Skyrim, and I remember I probably ate some more things. I remember I had quite the appetite, and that's pretty much the end of today's story. I hope you guys enjoyed. I've been away for a little bit. I had surgery, and now I'm coming back stronger than ever. I got so many things planned for the future for this channel, so you guys just stay tuned. And peace.